I have a lot to share with you guys today. So today I'm going to talk about 30 early pregnancy symptoms that you can look for within your own body to find out that you are pregnant before you're big fat positive. Hi, my name is Susan and this is the Oslims. Thank you so much for joining me today. So as I said, yes, there are 30 symptoms that I have gathered for you guys. But before we get into the actual list, I want to talk to you guys about what it is that is causing these symptoms and when you can expect to start experiencing these symptoms. So the main thing, the big thing that causes all of these symptoms to occur is your hormones changing. So as women, our hormones are changing all the time as we go through our menstrual cycles. We're going through the same cycle of hormones going up and down every time we get a period and go through our menstrual cycle. But when we become pregnant, this cycle suddenly changes. So this is when those hormones start changing. That is when you are going to possibly see some of these symptoms. So I'm just going to insert some images here. So if you are listening, take a look at the camera so you can see some images of the actual charts of your hormones and how they change. So if you are not pregnant, after you ovulate, if no egg has implanted into your uterus, then your estrogen and progesterone levels are going to decrease. And this is going to cause you to get your period, basically. On the other hand, if you are pregnant, once implantation occurs, then your progesterone and estrogen levels are going to increase, and they are going to continue to increase throughout your entire pregnancy. So the reason why or how this your progesterone and your estrogen levels are increasing now that you're pregnant is actually because it starts off first with the embryo implanting into your uterus, and that is going to release a new hormone into your body now, which is HCG. And HCG is actually the hormone that when you do a pregnancy test, that is what the pregnancy test is testing for, is that HCG level. So HCG starts being produced in your body by the cells of the developing placenta, and this is actually what causes your progesterone and estrogen to increase in the early stages of your pregnancy. Later on, your placenta will take over this role of stimulating estrogen and progesterone production in your body. But in the early stages, it is this new hormone that is creating this rise in estrogen and progesterone. So that is the hormonal changes that are happening. So when you can expect to start feeling these changes or noticing symptoms because of the hormonal changes, or more so when your hormones are actually going to start changing compared to your usual cycle, is during implantation or soon after implantation. So implantation happens about 10 to 14 days after you have conceived your baby. When you ovulate, the egg is released into your fallopian tube. The sperm meets the egg in the fallopian tube, and then from that point on, it takes about 10 to 14 days for that fertilized egg to travel down into your uterus and to attach onto your uterine lining. So expect to see these changes no sooner than like 10 days after you conceive. So I should also say that you might not notice any symptoms. When I first found out I was pregnant, I thought that I wasn't pregnant because I literally did not feel any symptoms. I didn't feel pregnant at all. But you might feel a ton of these symptoms. So it really just depends on your individual body. But let's get into the actual symptoms that you could possibly be feeling in early pregnancy before you even get your big fat positive. So as I said, once implantation occurs in your body, there are going to be an increase of certain hormones: HCG, progesterone, and estrogen. So progesterone and estrogen do have different things that they do to your body. So I'm kind of going to break all of these symptoms down into why these symptoms occur based on which hormone is increasing. But first, let's get into the symptoms that could possibly be occurring just from the actual implantation. So I've grouped these first 3 symptoms together, and they are all because of the actual implantation occurring, and they are bleeding, cramping, and backache. So with bleeding, I'm referring to implantation bleeding, and this actually occurs in about 25% of pregnancies. So it's not that uncommon, but it might be such a slight amount of blood that you might not even notice it. And it could be happening right around the time of your period. So when it actually does occur is about 10 to 14 days after fertilization. So what is actually happening in your body is just that the embryo is implanting into the uterine lining, and this implantation might just cause a little bit of blood, a little bit of spotting, but it definitely shouldn't be like a period, just a little bit of blood, sort of around the time, a little bit before when you might be expecting your period. And just like the bleeding, cramping might also occur, just a cramping feeling, sort of like period cramps, just from the implantation process. And again, with backache, this could be the exact same sort of thing, except instead of feeling it or experiencing it as cramps, you might experience it as a lower backache instead. So these next 10 or so symptoms are all caused by an increase in your progesterone levels. So these next 3, again, I'm sort of grouping together again as well, just because they're different symptoms, but they're all closely related. So they are constipation, bloating, and gas. So all 3 of these are created by an increase in progesterone, and that is because progesterone, one of the things that it does to your body is it slows things down. So it's going to slow down your digestive system. And because your digestive system is working more slowly, this definitely could cause a feeling of bloating. Your food is taking longer to digest now, so it's definitely going to cause a feeling of constipation as well. And it could cause gas as well, just because the food is sitting in your intestines for a longer period of time. Progesterone really relaxes things in your body. So this next symptom, which is heartburn, has to do with that. So the valve between your esophagus and your stomach could be relaxed and open a little bit more, and this might cause sort of an acid reflux heartburn symptom to occur. Another thing that this sort of relaxing effect can have for a symptom on your body would be the loosening of ligaments and joints. So this loosening of ligaments and joints can cause pain in those areas, or it could cause like a higher risk of getting a sprain or a strain on your joints or ligaments. Or some people say that it makes exercising a bit more difficult just because of this loosening, so that might be another symptom to sort of look out for. These next 2 are very closely related. So the one symptom is low blood pressure, and the other symptom is dizziness or feeling faint. So along with this sort of relaxing effect that progesterone has on the body, one of the things that progesterone also does is dilate the blood vessels, and this dilation causes low blood pressure. So if you're checking your blood pressure, that could be a symptom to look out for. But one thing that low blood pressure causes is a feeling of feeling dizzy or feeling faint or lightheaded. So that is another symptom. High enough levels of progesterone can actually put you to sleep. So also during this time, you might notice that you are feeling very tired. And this is probably not only due to just the rise in your progesterone levels, it's probably also because your body is just going through a ton of changes right now. But feeling tired is definitely a symptom of early pregnancy. Higher levels of progesterone have also been known to cause irritability. So if you are feeling sort of irritable or just having mood swings, this can also be a sign. If you have been tracking your basal body temperature during your cycles to try to find out when you ovulate, then this next symptom could be a great one for you to try to discover. So if you find that after you ovulate, your basal body temperature is still high for even 2 weeks after you ovulate, then that could be a symptom or a sign that you are pregnant. But even if you have not been tracking basal body temperature, at this time you might feel like you are just hotter, or you can overheat a lot easier. And this is because of the increase in progesterone, and it's also because of an increase in estrogen estrogen, and estrogen causes your body to circulate more blood. So these different things could be just making you feel warmer than usual. So with that, let's move on to estrogen and what the increase in estrogen could be causing for symptoms in your body in early pregnancy. So again, I'm going to group these next three all together because they all have to do with your breasts. So your breasts might begin to feel more tender or sore. They might feel heavier or bigger, and you might also notice like blue veins sticking out or more noticeable veins along the sides of your breasts as well. So all of these have to do with estrogen and the fact that estrogen increases the blood flow in your body. So with the increase in blood flow, you might be able to see your veins a lot more, especially along the sides of your breasts. With the increase of blood flow, this can cause your breasts to become more sore. And the heaviness is due to more fluid retention that might be happening. Most of the symptoms that estrogen causes is because of this increase in blood flow, but there are so many different symptoms that could possibly happen. So the next three, again, I am grouping all together. They, again, still have to do with estrogen, but they are completely different to your breasts. So they are having a stuffy nose, having a bleeding nose, or having bleeding gums. So when it comes to having a stuffy nose, this is the increase in blood flow, like I said, and this can cause your mucous membranes in your nose to swell, and that can cause the stuffiness. With bleeding nose and bleeding gums, this increase in blood flow can put a lot of pressure on very delicate vessels that are in your body. So the blood vessels that are in your nose are very delicate ones, so you could have an increased chance of getting a bleeding nose. And the same with your gums. This increase in blood flow can cause swelling of the gums. And again, because the blood vessels are more delicate in your mouth, this can also cause bleeding gums or, a higher risk of your gums bleeding due to flossing or whatever. Our next symptom is headaches. So frequent mild headaches. And this again is due to the increase in blood flow that's happening in your body. Frequent urination is our next symptom. So this is something you might think that might not happen until your baby is bigger and it's pressing on your bladder, but actually frequent urination or the need to go pee a lot can happen a lot earlier in your pregnancy, as in before you're big fat positive. And this is because of, again, the increase in blood flow. And this increase in blood flow is causing an increase in your kidneys having to filter out fluids from your body. And so the fluid that comes from your kidneys filtering that out, goes to your bladder, and that is why you need to pee more often. Our next symptom is vaginal discharge. So vaginal discharge is something that happens throughout your cycle anyways, but it is also something that happens during pregnancy. If you watch my video on checking your cervical mucus to predict ovulation, in there I said that the cervical mucus that you're looking for is the egg white cervical mucus, and that is when your estrogen is rising right before ovulation, and it's sort of like the estrogen is creating the cervical glands to produce more cervical mucus. And so you can take from that as well that when your estrogen is rising, after your baby has implanted and your estrogen begins to rise again, then throughout the rest of your pregnancy, you are still going to be producing this great quality cervical mucus. One of the benefits to this symptom is that the production of cervical mucus is going to help prevent infections in your cervix while you are pregnant. The next symptom, and the last one that has to do specifically with estrogen, is the pregnancy glow. I think we're on like number 22 maybe now, possibly. So pregnancy glow, again, this is because of estrogen is increasing your blood flow. So you're going to have a more flushed look. Your circulation is going to be a lot better. So yeah, your skin's going to be more flushed. It can also increase the production of oil in your skin, which is going to give you sort of a dewy look. So that is your pregnancy glow. So as I said, that was about number 22 for our symptoms, but there are a bunch more symptoms I have that I just don't exactly know why they are happening. Most of them are probably because of changes in hormones, but I can't specifically say that it's estrogen, progesterone, HCG, or whatever is causing it. But let's go through those ones. So just like you could possibly be getting a pregnancy glow, you could also possibly be getting acne at this time too. Your skin could be breaking out. And this could be, let's say, because of the estrogen, as I said, like your skin is producing more oil. It could be because of that, that you're getting acne, or it just could be because your hormones are just completely different than they've ever been and your body's just having these hormonal changes that are causing acne. It could be anything, but acne is definitely another symptom. Morning sickness is a big one, a big obvious one that is, a lot of women experience, especially in early pregnancy. So nobody really knows exactly why it's caused, but there are a lot of guesses. One of the guesses is that it is caused by HCG itself, and that is sort of why it's pretty bad in the first trimester, and then by the second trimester, usually morning sickness sort of subsides, and that is also when HCG subsides as well, and your placenta takes over, producing higher levels of estrogen and progesterone. So that could be a possible reason, or it could be because your progesterone is causing your digestive system to slow down, and maybe that's causing morning sickness as well. But either way, morning sickness is definitely a very common symptom. Along with this comes a few other symptoms that could be related, could be caused from the same thing, could be causing morning sickness, could be unrelated. But either way, the other few symptoms to look out for are food aversions, or on the opposite end, it could be like hunger and strong cravings for certain foods. Also a smell sensitivity, and another common one is a metallic taste in your mouth. So progesterone and estrogen can both play a role in controlling and moderating your sense of taste. And so that can have an effect on all of these things. So the metallic taste in your mouth is a common pregnancy symptom. It's something to watch out for. The hunger, I know that before I got my positive pregnancy test, and I got my positive pregnancy test fairly early, like 5 days before my expected period. I know right before then, I remember being extremely hungry the day before because I was at a party and I was snacking like crazy. And I remember thinking like, I don't usually eat this much, like why am I so hungry? So that was a big one for me. And then food aversions, you always hear about food aversions throughout pregnancy, but this can happen very early on as well. And then of course, smell sensitivity. I don't know if anyone has ever proven why this happens, but there definitely have been studies that have shown that women have a heightened sense of smell during pregnancy, even in the early stages. Another symptom could be that you have caught a cold. It could be a lowered immune system. So this is still being studied. Like I see that there are still studies coming out and information coming out about your immune system while you're pregnant. Before it was thought that you just have a lowered immune system when you're pregnant because your body doesn't want to fight off the baby because it considers it a foreign entity. But new studies have shown that that's not really true. But it still seems to be that women who are pregnant have a lowered immune system or are more susceptible to getting colds. So that was about 29 symptoms, I'm thinking. But I have a list of about 5 more that people have said that I keep seeing online, different symptoms, but there's no real rhyme or reason for why they could be. Maybe there's just coincidence, but I thought it might be good to mention them as well. So one is vivid dreams, another one is weight gain, another one is faster heart rate, the next one is high blood pressure, and that one is kind of the opposite of what I've seen. Usually it is a lower blood pressure, but maybe in certain circumstances you might have a higher blood pressure. And then another one is nipples becoming darker. And this is something that happens in pregnancy, but I'm not so sure that it would happen so early in pregnancy. But then again, every body is different. And then of course, the biggest symptom of all is getting a missed period. So when you do your pregnancy test, you're probably going to do it before your period is missed, because let's just be honest, as soon as we buy the tests, we want to use them right away. So you're probably going to do your pregnancy test before you even miss your period, but technically you're supposed to, or they say to, wait until you have missed your period before you do your pregnancy test and find your big fat positive. Obviously, these are all just symptoms. Everybody is different. Like I said, you might not experience anything. Like I didn't experience anything except, I guess, being extremely hungry, like I mentioned. Or you might experience a ton of symptoms and just know that you're pregnant. You might experience things that are not even on this list. You might just have an intuition, like a lot of women say they do. Either way, I hope this list has helped you. Comment down below what your symptoms were if you have been pregnant, what your symptoms were. If there are any of these, or if you had something completely different, that would be really interesting to hear. If you are trying to conceive and you are in your 2-week wait right now, I wish pregnancy upon all of you that want it. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to this channel and check out all of my other videos. They all have to do with trying to conceive and pregnancy and all that good stuff. And if you'd like, follow me on social media. I have an Instagram account and a Facebook page. It's all linked down in the comments below. Thank you so much, guys. I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.